Right now we're going to go on to New Zealand Live, where this week we return to more familiar surroundings. We were in Te Papa last week, of course, but this week we're in the RNZ studios in Hobson Street, Auckland. We have a four-piece country rock band to introduce you to this afternoon. They're also going to be playing the Backbeat Bar on K Road, Auckland, this evening, tomorrow. Tonight, as their new EP, Ghost Town Road, is officially released. It's a beautiful EP. I've got it here in front of me. Today we're going to get a bit of an advanced taste of the CD. And welcome to RNZ National, Jesse Wilde.
Great to be here.
And welcome to Drive.
Thank you.
Can you tell us who you got in here with you, Jesse?
On guitar, I've got Mark Collier.
Hi, Mark.
How you doing?
Got Aaron Watkins on bass.
Aaron Watkins, fantastic Hamilton boy. The stories you and I could tell about the University of Waikato, Aaron.
Oh, yes.
We used to work at Contact 89 FM together in the early 90s.
Yes.
You look just the same, and he's playing bass. Nice to have you here.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
And Henrik Rylev on the drums, all the way from Denmark.
Wonderful. Nice to have you here, sir. Thank you. Not your first album, Jesse, that you're releasing.
No, we've done a few.
But your most recent.
Yep.
And where was this recorded?
This was recorded in my own studio next to my house in Half Moon Bay.
Lucky you.
Yeah, and we had a really awesome engineer involved named Tom Healy and a great producer named Stephen Small.
And, okay, well, let's go back to the studio and the house scenario. Seems like a dream come true for a musician. Was this something that you've designed and built, or did you move in there, or what?
Well, about 16 years ago, I bought a house in Half Moon Bay, and it had a garage next to it with another garage joined to it. And then I built an extension, so it actually was bigger than the house. And we had Marshall Day Acoustics help design the acoustics, and we turned it into a recording studio. And been running it professionally for probably the last 15 years. And it is a dream come true, except just recently I've sold it and bought a 400 square metre building right in the centre of the city.
Have you?
On Airedale Street, and we're building like a 200 square metre TV studio and recording studio. It's the Wilde Records version 2.
And no offence, but how does a musician afford a 400 square metre building in the middle of Auckland City?
Yeah, it's a really good question. But 7 years ago, I bought a few properties in Auckland. And
that old story.
Yeah, and they've done okay. So
Right.
I sold a few.
And so more than just you will use this new studio, right?
Yeah.
What's the idea?
The new studio is we're going to build a New York loft-style apartment up the top.
Yeah.
It's like 200 square metres, where my wife, Kath Vincent, and my daughter, Alicia, will live with me. And then downstairs we're building, it's basically a mixed-use space. We've got 3 separate rooms, one really large L-shaped room, which is also going to be used as a TV studio, and an event centre. It's the whole lot is acoustically treated. In fact, the whole lot downstairs and upstairs is acoustically treated.
That's great.
So we can make as much noise as we want.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's actually a very quiet street, and it's 2 minutes walk. It's 2 minutes and 20 seconds walk to the main entrance of the town hall.
And pretty close to real groovy too.
It is. That's where I spend most of my money buying records for my new vinyl jukebox.
Yeah. Okay. So top of Queen Street there. Actually, we might come back to that jukebox. I'm keen to hear about that. Have you moved into the new place?
Yeah, we moved in probably about 2 months ago.
Great. Why don't you play us a song first, though? Actually, first, can you tell us about that guitar you're playing? That is beautiful.
Yeah, this is probably my favourite acoustic. This is an Ovation Elite Collector Series 1990. It has a bird's eye maple top, 24 frets. It's got gold-plated hardware, and it's just a beautiful sounding guitar. They're quite rare as well. They made 50 in the world of these.
Really? And the hole, I'm sure there's a better name for it than that.
It's got no sound hole, no traditional
okay.
sound hole. It has these little holes up here. Now that's so you don't have to have any cross bracing, and it helps the sound. It's got fan bracing.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, well, let's hear it. What are you going to play first for us?
This song is called Ghost Town Road. This is the title track to the EP.
Gave me the grapes of wrath when I was just 15. Ever since I've turn those pages, wanted to be seen. Driving down Route 66, crossing the Missouri line, with Tom Joe riding shotgun, no telling what I find. And I'm out past the diamonds in the dust, the concrete teepees all in a row, through this desert made of plastic signs, telling me, man, you're moving way too slow. But I could feel the dust ball pilgrims chasing dreams paid in gold, all us ghosts that refuse to die, the spirit of the rebel's pride. Out here, man, it's still alive on Ghost Town Road. On Ghost Town Road. On Ghost Town Road. It all started west of Tulsa in a hellbound pouring rain, when I swore I saw 10 Model T circled in a roadside wagon train. Above the fire, a crossroads sign read desperation and hope. I knew right away that I was in for a ride when they pointed the way to go. Out past the diamonds in the dust, the concrete teepees all in a row, and through this desert made of plastic signs, telling me, boy, you're moving way too slow. But I could feel the dust ball pilgrims chasing dreams paid in gold, all us ghosts that refuse to die, the spirit of the rebel's pride. Out here, man, it's still alive on Ghost Town Road. On Ghost Town Road. On Ghost Town Road. The boomtowns beckon to me tonight, like the prairie fire west of Eden lies a promised land, and there's dreams to pick tonight and souls for hire. Just a half an acre and a one-night stand. Well, I guess I was searching for a teacher or a hero in these old dotted lines, in the days before they buried young Billy and the highway died. I asked Tom Joad, can you help me? I fear our spirit is dying. Down in the ruins of the mother road, I'm beginning to read the sign.
Beautiful. Jesse Wilde and The Drive on New Zealand Live here at the Auckland studios, the RNZ National. That song was Ghost Town Road. It's the title track from the new EP from Jesse Wilde. And by the way, is that EP out today?
It is released today on iTunes and all other good digital outlets. We've also got physical copies available at the gig, and they'll be also from my website too.
You having some website problems? We were trying to get on there today. We were getting errors.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I think they're changing it over. It's something to do with the release.
Swamped by people trying to get in.
Yeah, maybe
it got crashed because Facebook's been going crazy over it. We've sold out the gig too.
Oh, pleased to hear it.
Yeah.
Very good. That song was co-written with the guy called Rick Beresford. Can you tell me about Rick? And we met him. And what part he played in that song?
Well, I was in Nashville a few years ago, and I went along. There's a ASCAP, which is like America's version of APRA. They have this place you can go there and write songs, and a place you can hang out. And the head of ASCAP in Nashville is a guy named Ralph Murphy, and he invited me along to like a sort of showcase singer-songwriters night. And I went along, and everyone you meet in Nashville, especially when they find out you're from New Zealand, they want to write a song with you. And everyone gives you a card, and everyone's a songwriter in
That's
Nashville.
so funny.
Yeah. And Rick came up and gave me a card, and we talked, and he was a really interesting guy. And then, but I put his card in my pocket and thought, it's just I'd probably had 20 cards that day. And Ralph Murphy came up to me and he said, did Rick give you his card? I said, yeah. He said he wanted to write a song with me. And he said, man, that guy's got like a 2-year waiting list to write with.
Wow.
They have waiting lists over there.
Amazing.
He said, you should ring that number. So I rang him, and he's like the head songwriting coach at the Nashville Songwriting University. And so it was like 10 o'clock in the morning on like a Monday. I think it might have been school holidays for him or something. And we turned up, had a glass of wine, and he asked me, he just
Good
said,
start.
what have you been up to lately? And I said, well, I've just finished driving down Route 66, as much of it as I could, because I was still restoring it back then. And he said, wow, what was Route 66 to you? And I said, man, it was just like a whole lot of ghost towns. And he said, man, that's a good name for a song, Ghost Town Road. And he dragged that song literally out of me over like, I don't know, must have been 6 or 7 writing sessions. I've never worked so hard on a song in my life,
Really?
and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
And he literally dragged it out of me.
An interesting technique from him, eh? He's not saying, hey, I've got a great lyric for you.
No,
He's saying, come on, Jesse, what else do you got?
Yeah.
He's working you over.
Exactly.
Milking you.
Yeah, milking me. Yeah, exactly. And it worked. I was ready to give up a couple of times, but we kept going, and I think it's a great song. It came out of it. So.
Do you notice the difference between a song you've worked that long and hard on and one that comes to you more quickly and more naturally?
Well, it's really interesting because most songs come to me like in the middle of the night or in the shower or driving in the car. But I believe, most songs like take 3 or 4 minutes to write, but I've been writing them in the back of my mind for years. Mm-hmm. So it's just like something triggers the release and they come out.
Great.
So, yeah, most songs I write pretty quickly. Yeah.
Can you tell me about this jukebox you've got?
Well, because we've got this awesome space, I was sort of grieving the loss of my old studio while we're building the new studio. I just thought I got to fill up this space. So I love to get on Trade Me. And I found this old jukebox. It's an AMI Row, built in 1980. It was built in Rapid Falls, Michigan, I think.
Great.
And it is a great sounding jukebox. I read all the reviews about it, and also the most reliable, like way more reliable than the old Wurlitzers.
Yeah, are they complicated mechanically? Do things go wrong with them?
Well, apparently all the reviews and everyone says this is fully functioning. It even takes the old 50-cent coins. You can bypass the coin mechanism, but it plays 45 vinyl, and it's just a huge sound. And,
right.
But no, it's been running great for the last 2 months, and we've been thrashing it.
So you buy the jukebox, and then it's your job to fill it up with 45s.
Yeah, well, it actually came with 145s in it. And,
great.
Yeah, and then I've been going down to Real Groovy and just like finding really cool tracks.
Oh.
And Trade Me, of course, been finding more tracks.
Yeah, can you just put it on random or?
The spooky thing about the jukebox is if you leave it for a few, like 10 minutes or so, it just randomly starts playing songs. And it's like, I think it's like trying to entice you to put more 50-cent coins into it.
Yeah.
So it like, and it always picks the B side, and it's spooky. Some songs are really relevant too.
Really, yeah.
And what's happening, it's
like a mood ring.
It freaks my wife and my daughter out sometimes. I leave it on and just see if I can freak them out with a crazy song.
What have you been enjoying on 45 recently?
Oh, mate, I'll tell you my two favourite ones. I got Hello Sailor, it's Blue Lady.
Great song.
Great song. And
Sound different on the jukebox than it does digitally or on radio?
It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And I got a Hammond Gamble one as well,
Great.
because I'm a big fan of Hammonds.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, fantastic.
yeah, I mean, I do love New Zealand music, but I've been putting some great classics like some Warren Zevon and so I've got everything on there.
Yeah.
Like, some Steve Earle, he's one of my favourite songwriters.
Yeah, we'll talk about Steve Earle. Play us another song, though. What are you going to do next? This is from your new EP, Ghost Town Road, as well.
Yep. The next song we're going to do...
In fact, maybe not from the EP. I've got I Ain't Gonna Let You.
Oh, okay. Well, should we do that one? Yeah.
Do whatever you like.
Yeah,
I'm not your boss.
Well, I thought the next song we're going to do is Monica, and it is on the EP.
Yeah, let's do that then.
And, yeah, you want to hear about the song? Well, it's pretty much a true story, and I didn't even change the names. About a girl I met, and before I was married, and, yeah, it was in Indiana. I was there, just a Kiwi kid. And I remember she always said to me, "You're going to write a song about me one day." And I said, "Oh, look, I don't write songs on request."
I'm not a jukebox.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And then I got home, and she gave me this photo just before she left. And I looked at this photo, and the song just came pouring out. So.
I bet the wife loves the story.
Yeah, she wrote my biography. There's absolutely no secrets. No secrets at all. Yeah.
And we'll try again.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
So false start.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Dropping one's pick.
Yeah, and someone stole my spear pick.
Don't worry, this is pre-recorded. It's playing next Friday.
And I got
We'll take all this out.
Let's do that again. That's fun.
Jennifer is a topless dancer, Bloomington, Indiana. She drives a red convertible, stage name Monica. She was open to flirting, getting drinks bought for all night. But inside she was hurting, 'cause no one ever treated her right. And I was sitting at the bar, yeah. She was out back playing pool, and I just ignored her, 'cause I was playing it cool. She came up and introduced herself. She took me by surprise, with cut-off jeans on her legs, and those American vibes. But it only shows up in photographs, sadness in her eyes. And it only shows up in photographs, the way she feels tonight. She took me back to a trailer, and a drunken ride made me scream. She laid me down on the floor, and I started to dream. Well, I guess you can guess the rest. Hey man, what a night. She has a body made for love, and she knew how to use it alright. Yeah, but it only shows up in photographs, the sadness in her eyes. But it only shows up in photographs. mother taught her to use men to get just what she wants. Before she could short choose them, left with memories that haunt her. Her mind and her body, they're still left with the scars. Sheep, cocaine, and whiskey, broken promises, falling stars. Yeah, but it only shows up in photographs, the sadness in her eyes. It only shows up in the photographs, the way she feels tonight. Dance, 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 Monica, yeah. Dance, dance for me tonight. Dance, 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 Monica, yeah. Dance, you know it's gonna be alright. Girl, just dance for me tonight. Jennifer's a topless dancer from Bloomington, Indiana. She drives a red convertible, stage name Monica.
RNZ National, New Zealand Live on a Friday afternoon, and today you're hearing Jesse Wilde and The Drive playing in the Auckland studio in a little room with me, Andre Upston doing the engineering, and that was Monica from the new EP Ghost Town Road. You got Jesse Wilde, of course, and joining him today, Henrik Rylev on drums, Mark Collier doing guitar, beautiful guitar solo from him there, and Aaron Watkins on bass. I want to talk about some of your heroes, Jesse. Bob Seger, John Mellencamp, and Steve Earle. They're the holy trinity for you, right?
They certainly are as far as songwriting goes.
Uh-huh. And you decided that it wasn't enough just to listen to their music, that you wanted to meet them?
That is a true story, yeah. I went on a rock pilgrimage, I guess, of the hometowns of my three favourite songwriters. And I sort of had this plan of going there and sort of feeling what they were feeling when they were writing the songs they were writing. And I also had a dream, trying to meet them all.
And how'd it go? Who'd you meet first?
Well, I landed in Detroit, Michigan, and I started asking people if anyone knew where Bob Seger lived, and absolutely no one knew. It was like, I'm pretty sure he lives in Hollywood or something, And he was born in Dearborn, so I went to Dearborn and no one. And then the internet wasn't really a massive thing back then. This is a while ago. And
there's no map of the stars' homes in Detroit, I imagine.
No, nothing at all. In fact, it's a pretty scary place in parts of it. But I went to the Henry Ford Library, and I got out some newspaper articles on, it was like being a detective stalker, yeah. Fine line. And I just found out there was two articles that had just been written recently, and one was in a bar called the Avenue Diner, and it mentioned that he'd got into a bit of a verbal fight with a car worker, and they were saying, well, haven't you ever helped us out, because Detroit's a car town, where they make all the Chevrolets. And that was his sort of excuse for letting them use Like a Rock for the Chevy commercial. And so I decided this is my only lead, so I went to that bar. I turned up there, and I was in a pretty crappy car that I'd bought, and they valet parked my car, and I walked in there. This is like this country club, and I just sat at the bar, and this has happened to me all my life, fate. And I'm trying to strike up a conversation with the bar lady. She wasn't that interested, and then a guy just comes in. He'd been playing golf, and he sat down next to me, and he goes, he heard me talking to the bar lady, and he goes, "You're not from around here?" I said, "No, I'm from Auckland, New Zealand." He said, "What are you doing in Detroit?" "What are you doing in Michigan?" And I said, "I'm here to meet Bob Seger." And he goes, "Oh, is he a friend of yours?" "Well, not yet," I said. I'm going to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And he said, "You're not going to believe this, but my neighbor just told me that he moved into a house just across the lake from me."
Wow.
And I said, "Oh, what's the name of this road?" And he goes, "I don't know, but I think they call it I'm not allowed to say the name actually."
Yeah.
And he gave me the name of the subdivision, and then I had this spiritual feeling. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I went driving out there, and I had this psychic spiritual feeling that I'd found his house. And I thought, I'm not going to knock on his door at 10 o'clock at night. So I sort of slept in my car, had a swim in the lake the next morning to freshen up.
Yeah, that's just what you want. Turn up in the rock star's doorway smelling of pondweed.
Yeah, that's right. And I went and knocked on this door that I had this amazing spiritual feeling about, and this lady answered and goes, "Oh no, he lives 2 doors up." So I'd literally parked like 2 doors up because I didn't want to park right in front of his house, so I'd parked right, and there was no footpaths or anything, and it was a really skinny road, so I literally parked right on his lawn.
Right.
So when I got there, I pressed this intercom. There was no fence or anything, and his wife answered the intercom, and I said, "Is Bob Seger home?" She goes, "Who are you?" And I said, "Jesse Wilde from Auckland, New Zealand. I had my first album out." And he goes, "Well, he doesn't live here, but if you leave it on the doorstep, maybe I can get it to him." And I said, "Cool, I'm just going to go up to my car and I'll write a little note to Bob and I'll leave it on the doorstep." And she was cool with that. And so I went up to the car and I'm writing on the dash on the CD cover, and he comes walking up the driveway. He'd come around from the back of the house, and he was wearing like shorts and a singlet and smoking a cigarette, and he goes, well, I won't say the exact words, but it was like, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Jesse Wilde from Auckland, New Zealand." And he goes, "What the hell are you doing here, man?" And I said, "Well, I'm a songwriter. I got this out and my album." And he was like, "Man, you're parked on my something lawn." And then I said, "Hey, maybe," he was really quite aggravated. So I actually said, "Look, I didn't come all this way to piss you off. So I'll just be on my way, And he was like, so I hopped in my car, and then he sort of put his head in the window and he goes, "Where'd you say you're from again?" I said, "Auckland, New Zealand." He goes, "If you found this place from Auckland, New Zealand, you must have something going for you." And he said, "Put your car in my driveway, get it off my lawn, and we'll talk." And then we went round the back and had a good chat, smoked a few cigarettes and drank a few beers.
That is cool.
And he did give me some advice. One was, don't knock on Steve Earle's door because he'll shoot you. He's done it before.
Wow.
And that was good advice. And he said, with Mellencamp, he said, "Man, Mellencamp lives in like an ex-military complex," which is actually true, an old training ground. So you won't be able to knock on his door. And he did say, "Please don't publish my address," because he had actually had serious problems with a stalker, and that's why he'd moved.
Yeah, right. Geez.
So maybe that's why he let me talk to me, and it was great. And he did ask me.
A really good stalker wouldn't park on the berm, of course.
No, they wouldn't. I wasn't a very inexperienced stalker back then. I've got better now. But
What a buzz, eh?
he did ask me. He said, "Well, what would make you do this?" And like every rock and roll biography I ever read, they all go and meet their influences, and they're always usually really disappointed too.
Yeah.
And I said, your songs influenced my songwriting so much. I don't really call them heroes. I call them influences, because I believe we're all, everyone is equal. I would like to believe we are. And I said, but it was a bit like an orphan who doesn't know her father, because of how much you influenced my music. And he kind of got that. I said, it's good for the soul.
Did you play him your music?
Yeah, I did. I played. Got my guitar out, played a few songs. I even played him Night Moves, his song. He said, "Man, that's good." He really liked that.
Meanwhile, the wife's in the kitchen rolling her eyes. Going, when's it's going to move on?
When's the stalker got to leave us?
It's traceable number plates.
Yeah.
I'm keen to get the other stories as well. I don't know if we'll have time or not, but let's get another song. What would you like to play now?
Great. Well, this song's not actually on the EP, but we really like this song. This is a song called "I Ain't Gonna Let You Let Me Go." And in fact, it's actually about stalking. It's about love bordering on restraining orders.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I believe you do. I don't see nothing, girl. masterpiece. An art like that, girl, you just can't lease. And I don't need to own you, everybody needs their space. But I can't stop these feelings when I see your face. I ain't gonna let you let me go. I know things about you, girl, you don't know. Why you're so afraid to let love grow. And I ain't gonna let you let me go. Let me go. Let me go. I ain't gonna let you.
Oh, it's a great song. Jesse Wilde and the Drive performing I Ain't Gonna Let You Go. Well, I ain't gonna let you at least. I feel like I can hear John Mellencamp in that song.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I was actually listening to a lot of Springsteen when I wrote that song. And it came to me at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I had to go out into my studio. It's great having a studio right next to your house.
I'll bet.
Turned on some mics and played the song pretty much within 3 or 4 minutes, and then went back to sleep. And I woke up the next morning and went, oh yeah, that's not a bad one.
Great. Tell me about Mellencamp. You actually got to work with him rather than just hang out in his patio.
Yeah. This one I did a little bit differently because I thought, I'm gonna, I don't want to. To start with, everyone in Indiana knows where John Mellencamp lives. They can draw your map on a napkin, and you get to his house and it's like military walls. I think it's an ex-military base, like training base. It's a huge property, and it's got this intercom on a post in this long driveway, and it says, if you're not invited, do not press this button.
Wow.
So, yeah, it wasn't exactly welcoming.
No.
So there was a bar about like a mile down the road, and I noticed 2 Harleys there, and it was like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. And I stopped in this bar and I had my guitar, and it was so hot, like it's stinking hot over there, humid. And I didn't want to leave my guitar in the car because it would have just got cooked. And so I brought this guitar into the bar, and there's 2 guys sitting at the bar. And one of them said, hey, do you know how to play that thing? And I'm like, yeah, I can. I played a few songs. I played some.
Can I just interrupt, by the way, Jesse? Your life sounds like a movie.
It does.
Honestly, every story you tell sounds like the opening scene of a movie.
Yeah, well, this would make a good movie, this one.
Even if that movie is occasionally Fatal Attraction.
Yeah. There are some of those things that happen.
Sorry, as you were.
Yeah.
So they say, can you play that thing?
Yeah, so
You said, can I ever?
Can I? Well, and they say, what are you doing in here? Because this is Bloomington, Indiana. This is a pretty small town. It's a college town, and they don't get many tourists there. And I said, I'm here to meet John Mellencamp. And they said, oh, do you know him? And I said, not yet. And I played a couple of John Mellencamp songs. And there was 2 guys. I don't know if I should mention their names because I kind of...
Well, first names is okay, isn't it?
Okay, well, Bo and T were their names.
Yeah.
And I never found out what T's actual name is, but Bo was a school teacher, an English teacher. And
It's good to see an English teacher in the bar at 10 a.m.
I think it must have been school holidays again. I don't know.
Still no excuse, but anyway, carry on.
And so I played a few songs, and I think it was Bo said to me, he goes, man, you sound like John Mellencamp did before he smoked too many cigarettes.
Right.
And that was a real compliment.
Yeah, great compliment.
And he was joking about John. John's still got a great voice. And yeah, in the end, I had a few beers with them, and they invited me around to their place to play, around to T's place to play some 9-ball. And I didn't know these guys from a bar of soap, so when they were in the bathroom, I said to the bar lady, these guys psycho coolers or anything? She said, no, you can trust these guys. These guys are cool. So I left my guitar in the bar, and I jumped on the back of this Harley. They gave me some sunglasses because she said stop the bugs from getting my eyes. We had a good night. We played some pool, and we listened to some really cool records. He had a lot of amazing, like, John Mellencamp memorabilia there. I probably should have twigged. And then the next day, I just crashed the night on the sofa, and the next day they dropped me off back at the bar, and the bar lady goes, did they tell you who they were? I said, nope. It's Bo and T. He was a school teacher, and I don't know what T does. I think he's an accountant or something. And it turned out that Bo was like the best man at all 4 of John Mellencamp's weddings. He was like a childhood friend, and T was, T worked for John. And in a capacity which I probably shouldn't say.
Right.
And then I didn't see them for like 2 weeks. So I was like, oh man, I missed my chance. I didn't see them. And then finally Bo turned up at the bar. I managed to become friends with a guy who worked at the bar, and he had a spare room, and I stayed there, and I did a bit of playing at the bar. And then he came in and he goes, I've had to talk to John. he's kind of cool with you being here. He's his band is like rehearsing for like 2 weeks before they go on tour without him. And if you wanted to stop in and meet the band, you're welcome. And so I kind of had permission to go into the studio, and I got to play some songs. Walked in there, and Michael Wanchik's like the guitarist who's had forever, and Kenny Arnoff, the great drummer who now plays with John Fogerty from ex-Creedence Clearwater. He was like, do you know any of these songs? They just bought a songbook. And I was like, yeah, I got that songbook for my 16th birthday. So I pretty much,
Cool.
I said, what are you doing with it? And Michael Wanchik's like, I went out and bought it yesterday because John gets really pissed off if we forget his songs. So they'd bought the songbook, and so I got to play on his guitar and his microphone. It was pretty cool. And then a few weeks after that, I did stop in when they were rehearsing with John, and they really warned me about this. Like, he apparently is really unapproachable. So I had Monica with me, actually, the girl from the song. Jennifer's her real name. And we'd just been skinny dipping in the lake, actually. And I walked in there. In fact, the photo I've got with John on my website is I've got my hair's wet. And I walked in there and gave him my album. And he's like, I walked in there and it was like ghostly. Like everyone was like, and these have become friends of mine. And I walked up and I said, hi, I'm Jesse Wilde. And he said, I know who the hell you are. And he goes, you're trying to take over? And he goes, why don't you sit down there and I'll show you how it's done. So that's pretty, so that was cool.
Oh, that's really good. It's really good. Oh, Jesse, I could talk to you for 2 hours.
It'll be fun.
But unfortunately, it is 2:59 and 30 seconds. So that'll have to be it. Jesse Wilde and The Drive. The EP is Ghost Town Road. I think you should probably release a spoken word album next.
Thank you.
With all your stories.
Yeah.
Did you say there is a biography? You have written a biography, or were you joking?
I started writing a journal. I never said I had a bio just in.
Right, the bio.
In the front of my
okay.
song, I wrote a songbook. Yeah.
Great. Lovely to see you.
Thanks.
And thanks to the band for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Aaron Watkins, great to see you again.